Crossing the Red Sea Exodus, 1317 to 1431. Welcome to Bible Story Time. Today, we're going to explore one of the most miraculous events in the Bible, the crossing of the Red Sea. It's a powerful story of faith obedience and God's intervention at a moment of seemingly impossible circumstances. Stay with us till the end to learn the profound lessons we can apply to our own lives when we feel trapped and helpless. The journey begins. After Pharaoh had finally agreed to release the Israelites from slavery, Moses led them out of Egypt. The Israelites had been in bondage for hundreds of years, and now they were finally free. But their journey was not an easy one. God didn't lead them directly to the promised land. Instead, He led them on a route that would bring them face to face with one of the greatest challenges of their journey, the Red Sea. God's guidance was evident from the start. He led them with a cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. This was a visual reminder that God was with them every step of the way. However, Pharaoh soon regretted his decision to let the Israelites go and pursued them with his army. Pharaoh's pursuit. When Pharaoh heard that the Israelites had left Egypt, his heart turned once again, and he ordered his army to pursue them. The Israelites were now trapped between Pharaoh's approaching army and the impassable Red Sea. The people began to panic and cry out to Moses, saying, "Was it because there were no graves in Egypt that you brought us to the desert to die?" At this moment of fear and despair, Moses responded with courage and faith, telling the people, "Do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. The Egyptians you see today, you will never see again." Moses assured them that God would fight for them, and all they needed to do was to be still and trust in Him. God's instructions to Moses. God then spoke to Moses, telling him to stretch out his staff over the sea. God promised that He would divide the waters, creating a dry path for the Israelites to walk through. Not only that, but He would use this moment to demonstrate His power to both the Egyptians and the Israelites. The cloud that had been leading the Israelites now moved behind them, placing itself between the people and Pharaoh's army. The Egyptians could no longer see the Israelites, and the Israelites were protected. God was actively fighting on their behalf. The miracle of the Red Sea. Moses obeyed God's instructions and stretched out his staff over the sea. As he did, a miraculous thing happened. The waters of the Red Sea began to part. The waters formed walls on either side, and a dry path appeared in the middle. The Israelites, with faith in God's promise, began to march through the sea on dry land. The walls of water stood firm on both sides, and the Israelites passed through safely, with the waters towering above them. The Israelites made it to the other side, and when Pharaoh's army attempted to follow, God commanded Moses to stretch out his hand again. The waters returned to their normal state, and the entire Egyptian army was drowned in the sea. God's power and faithfulness. This event marked the ultimate demonstration of God's power and faithfulness. The Egyptians had pursued the Israelites with all their might, but they were no match for God's intervention. The Israelites witnessed God's miraculous deliverance firsthand. In Exodus 14:31, we read, "And when the Israelites saw the mighty hand of the Lord displayed against the Egyptians, the people feared the Lord and put their trust in Him and in Moses, His servant." This was a turning point in their journey, a moment when they understood that God was with them, guiding them every step of the way. Lessons from the crossing of the Red Sea. God's timing is perfect. The Israelites were trapped between the sea and Pharaoh's army, but God had a perfect plan for their deliverance. His timing may not always align with our expectations, but He is never late. God fights for us. Just as God fought for the Israelites against the Egyptians, He promises to fight for us in our own struggles. We are never alone when we trust in Him. Faith moves mountains. The Israelites had to trust God's word and move forward in faith. When we trust God and take steps of obedience, He can make a way where there seems to be no way. God's power is unstoppable. No army, no obstacle, and no situation can stand against the power of God. The crossing of the Red Sea is a vivid reminder of God's sovereign authority over nature and all things. The story of the Red Sea reminds us that even when we feel trapped, God is faithful to provide a way out. When we trust Him and walk by faith, He can turn impossible situations into miraculous victories. If this story has inspired you, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to Bible Story Time. Don't miss our next video where we'll explore the miraculous provision of manna and quail in the wilderness. Trust God, and He will make a way.